What is up, YouTube? What's going on, YouTube? It's your girl Ness, and we are back with another video. Before we get started, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn that notification bell on, and let's get into it. So, I wanted to give you guys an exclusive and tell you about the time my dad was wanted. Lebanon's most wanted. So my dad was like very intoxicated. It was me, my sister, sperm donor, my sister's boyfriend, and my mom upstairs in her room. We're gonna try to make this one fast because it's funny. So we were on the living room, and my sister's boyfriend at the time and my sperm donor and my dad, well, the two main ones, they came up with a plan of breaking into some it's like a little farm. It wasn't a farm, it was like a little facility thing, like a cabin. I don't know what it was, something like that, but you know what I mean. In the back of like nowhere, where a complex that we used to live in. So they had told my dad about it, and my dad was down with it for them to break into it. They didn't know what was in there, but they wanted to break into it to see what was in there. And they went about their business. They went ahead, broke into it, but they didn't take nothing. They came back and said what was in there, a whole bunch of toys. And my sister had told them that it was the Toys for Tots, when all those people give they collect stuff, money, they buy stuff for Toys for Tots, kids in need or whatever. And she was like a little mad. Once you're intoxicated, like, you're gonna do whatever you want regardless. And I know drinking is not an excuse for your actions, but in my dad's case, he drank morning to night. So when he drank, it was like really hard for him to know what he was doing. And he didn't, at the time, he didn't know what he was doing. So like, I was at the door trying to tell my dad, like, Dad, don't do it. I was telling sperm donor, like, why, like, don't do it, like, it's stupid. But again, I was pregnant, so I couldn't really stop them. So they went ahead, broke in. I woke up to hearing my mom and my dad arguing, and seeing my dad's face his face wasn't on the news yet, but they had it on the news, saying about someone broke in, took all the toys. Mind you, I knew it was my dad and sperm donor and my sister's boyfriend at the time. My dad goes to the basement and comes back upstairs, and he's like, all the toys, and I'm telling you, all the toys were in the basement. Like, it was packed. So my dad being my dad, to get rid of it, he literally sold everything, like, so fast. He sold everything from bikes to books, toys, crayons, everything that was there. He sold it to the people in our complex. And of course, the people that bought it, I won't say no names, but after they bought everything, everything was sold, they had went and turned my dad in and told them they knew who did it, this and that. So my dad was preparing himself to, well, it wasn't only him, but they didn't know that at the time, because my dad's the type, if he does something with somebody, ain't nobody gonna know there was anybody with him. He's gonna keep it all to himself. He's gonna take the blame for everything. So he wanted to turn himself in. So I was like crying, telling him, Dad, don't go. But he was like, I promise I'm gonna come back before the baby's born, da da da. So like an hour later passed, like I'm crying. He walks back through the door, and I was so relieved, but it was like, I was like, how did he went to turn himself in, how they let him go? So he told my mom that he tried to turn himself in and they didn't let him. So he came back home. And so the cops came, ended up banging on the door, let him in. At that moment, all I remember was me, my mom, my dad, and sperm donor, but he was upstairs in my room. And the cops handcuffed him, and I'm just holding him crying, and the cops are like telling my mom, like, grab her, get her off. And it came to a point where one of them went to grab me, but my dad, he moved, he was handcuffed, but he moved in a way so that they don't put their hands on me. And he told them, she's pregnant, she's due any day, just leave her alone, let her go. So I'm like hugging my dad, crying, telling him don't go. And I had to end up letting him go, obviously, because but before the cops went, I was sitting there like plotting in my head, like, we can hide my dad somewhere, they won't catch him, he can be on the run, that's fine. Because mind you, something happened, I should not be saying this, sorry mom, but something had happened in New York when me and my sister were like very young. He had did something, so he was on the run in New York. And now thinking about it, he never got caught. That is so funny. But anyways, he was on the run for doing something in New York. So that's like the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, wait, he was able to get away with something. I should like try to figure out a way for him to actually get away with this. Like, he can be on the run, we can still go see him, like everything will be good. But my dad being my dad, he was like, no, he's gonna turn himself in, whatever. So the cops had taken him, and I was just crying, and like I was just sitting down, had to relax because the baby. And like not even 30 minutes, more cops show up at my house, and I'm like, okay, like who's next? So they came in. I'm not sure if my sister's boyfriend, I don't even know where he was at the time. I think they already had taken him with my dad. Not exactly in the same car, but they had taken him with my dad. I'm not sure. I think so. And then they had came for Jonathan. My sperm. Yeah, him. Everyone knows who he is. They had came for him. And they asked where he was, and I was like, he's upstairs. Like, I was over it because, like, they took my dad, they took the other person, like, whatever. So, at the time, I didn't care. When they took him, like, he was in the car looking at me, but I was, like, so relieved, like, that time I was gonna be away from him, because, mind you, we were still having our, relationship problems, and even though I was pregnant, I was still getting abused. So, I was kind of relieved in a way, but then in a way I felt bad, because his family, they didn't know anything. So, my mom had to go to his house and tell his mom. So, we all ended up going to the courthouse, or yeah, I think that's where it was, because they had to question him. And mind you, he was a minor, so he wasn't gonna go to jail. He was just gonna go to like a detention center. And my dad, when they had hid him in a room questioning him, he was telling them that it was just him by himself. He did everything on his own. But then my sister's ex-boyfriend at the time, he had sat there and told them what he was doing. He told them that he was involved, and then Jonathan, sperm donor, he had told them that he was involved in it. So then I don't know if my dad got in trouble for trying to cover them up, but he did try to tell them to keep their mouth shut, that he was going to take the blame for it. But them being them, they didn't want that, so they had confessed to what they did. And he went to end up going into a detention center. My dad went to jail, and my sister's boyfriend went to jail. Now, the funny thing about it is, now looking at it, it's funny that they had my dad's picture everywhere. They had his picture all over the news, talking about Lebanon's most wanted. And at the time when I seen it, I started crying, and I was like, wow, like this is really happening. But looking at it now, it was kind of funny. Like, how? Like, I know how, because he was in and out of jail, and like till now, like someone can see me and I don't know who they are, and, oh, you're Roy's daughter. I already know why, because everything he did, not in a bad way, because he wasn't a bad person, but that's how they know me. And every time I got into a run-in with the cops, or like if I got stopped or something, or they came to my house, even when I got locked up, they knew who I was. Some of them knew who I was. Like the parole officers and the constables, even the constables that came to my house, they know who I am because of my dad. And I think it's just so funny. Like now, like I don't know how my sister feels about it, or like to me, but it is just hilarious. And his face was everywhere saying like what he did and everything. And to me, it's just like, now looking at it, I'm like, wow. Like sometimes I catch myself trying to search it up and look for his name, and I just laugh about it. But yeah, I just had to tell you guys that story, because to me, like, it's like, now looking at it, it is just so funny, like how they managed to get in a short amount. It didn't even take them like an hour. It took them less than that for them to take everything. It was like, I'm telling you, like I'm not even exaggerating, like 10 bikes they had like downstairs, whole bunch of basketballs, like anything you can name, my dad had it downstairs, and he sold that. I'm pretty sure like when he got locked up and everything, they took the money that he made off of it, whatever. But like in less than an hour, they got everything in my basement, in our basement. And it was just like, it's traumatizing. My past is traumatizing, but at the same time I look at it and it's like lessons learned. And just to think that I was plotting to try to hide my dad, hide a fugitive, like, it, to me, everything is just so funny. And so I went to all his court hearings, and I was like trying to talk my mom into letting me testify, like try to lie about it and say no, it wasn't him, this and that. But he's the type to own up to his mistakes, so it would have never worked out anyways, because he was here, he confessed everything. But I know drinking is not an excuse. Like I said in the beginning, drinking is not an excuse. But when you, even from experience, when you drink too much, like, you don't know, like, there's times that I drank and I woke up in my house not remembering how I got there, like who brought me, or even if I walked, or how did I get in the house. And I'm pretty sure me and my husband were not together. Obviously the times that I used to party and everything, we weren't together, we were separated. So I'm pretty sure he helped me at times, but at the same time he probably wanted to choke me. But like, he's not abusive, that's just like a saying, obviously, but he's not abusive, he doesn't touch me. But like, choke me as in like, what is this girl doing? But from experience, again, like, it's hard to remember what you did. It's hard to even say no to something when your brain is like, when your body has consumed all this alcohol. And it's just like an experience. When I had went to a club and I just drank so much, like, at first when I started drinking, I wanted to go home, but then as I drank more, I just wanted to stay and have fun. And then after that, I don't know what happened, I ended up back home. Like, I knew I didn't do nothing wrong, clearly, because I was just drinking, having fun. At the time I thought it was fun. And I just don't remember how I like walked, like if I walked in the house, or my husband had to pick me up and bring me to the room, or if I threw up, or if I was crying, like stuff like that. So seeing what my dad did, I know it was hard, but I just had to share this story with you because to me it's just so funny every time, like, I talk about it, or like I have memories of it, and I just laugh, like, wow, my dad was Lebanon's most wanted, and he was also wanted in New York. So it's like, when people make jokes, like some family members or like people that I've known for a long time, like if we're talking or I bring it up and they're like, oh, you're a fugitive daughter, I don't take it any type of way. I just think it's so funny, because like, if I would have lived a better life, I love, like, growing up, it was fun despite everything that happened. If I would have lived a different life, no problems at all, I would have never learned anything. It would have just been, to me, it would have been boring, I could say. Like, my childhood was fun, it was traumatizing, but at the end of the day, putting all that together, I learned a lot. And with the drinking wise, I always said I didn't want to be like that, like my dad. But in some ways, like, obviously I fell into it, and it wasn't, I'm not blaming my dad, because if I did it on my own will. I didn't do it because my dad did it. I just did it because I wanted to. I liked how the drinking, like how it felt when you were drunk. But again, I'm not saying that his actions were because he was drinking. I'm pretty sure he knew some stuff that he did, but it wasn't all up there. You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next. Bye.